Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Warframe guide. This time leading on from the previous leveling guide we've done, we're going to expand on it slightly and look at the finesse of Endo. Now, if anyone that's played Warframe for a prolonged period of time, you will know that Endo is a quintessential part of the game, part of the time gating. The more you play the game, the more Endo you're going to need. But what is it, how do you obtain it, and how important is it, and what best ways are there of obtaining it? Endo is an item that drops in multiple places throughout the entirety of Warframe. Most notably, it drops from enemies in small quantities, but can also be obtained in multiple other fashions as well. So, first things first, you would sort of be forgiven for thinking that resource boosters might help. Resource boosters double the chance of dropping and double the resources you gain. However, as it turns out, Endo is not considered an item, it is considered a mod drop. Therefore, resource boosters and resource drop chance boosters don't actually affect it. So, trying to get ahead of the game by using these ain't gonna help you, unfortunately. Some other things you can do to make more efficiency of your Endo and to save some time in the future if you get lucky with certain drops. You can recycle unwanted mods. Selecting a mod from your foundry can be then dissolved into Endo. As I've mentioned in previous videos before, when I explained in my basics guide, the higher value the mod, the more it can be dissolved into. Bronze will obviously dissolve into the small amount of Endo, and then the golden ones will dissolve into more. You can also dissolve ribbons, however that is obviously down to your prerogative. Now, you can also use Ayatan treasures. Ayatan treasures can be obtained from missions, as well as doing Maru's weekly quest. These can then be worth a default amount of Endo on their own, and then if you install stars into them, they are then worth a vast amount more. What you do with these then is you can either use them as a sculpture in your ship as a decoration, or you can trade them into Maru for the Endo that is shown on screen. Now, something else that you can also do if you get extremely lucky by getting a hold of a legendary core, whether it be from the sorties or from buying one off a friend or finding one under your pillow or the Tooth Fairy giving you one, if you get a legendary core will allow you to level a mod to full without any requirements. So if we pick this mod, for example, right now this would cost me 10,000 Endo and 494,000 credits to level to full. If I had a legendary core, there would be an option here that would allow me to have that as 0. Legendary cores are a super rare drop, but they are so worth it. And on top of that, they can be sold for platinum as a little extra as well. Important note, prioritize this to primed mods and mods with 10 levels or thereabouts. Using it on a lower level mod with only 5 levels, 6 levels, 7 levels, it's a bit of a waste. Obviously it's down to your prerogative, but my recommendation, save for the prime mods. Those will cost you a lot of money to get to full. So, let's start looking at the ways that you can grind Endo in a more efficient manner. We're going to have some footage up here next to me in a moment, but the first thing we're going to look at is the arena on Sedna through Yod Yanoi. Now, this is a very unique arena called Rathum. This is essentially the Grineer equivalent to the Index. In this arena, you will be fighting a multitude of Grineer enemies. These Grineer enemies will range in level depending on the difficulty you go in at. Now, to get into Rathum initially, you need points. These points are obtained by doing the individual arenas. So you'll start with Naki to earn some base points. You can then go to Yam by spending points to get in there. And as you go through, you start earning points. You can then get to the later ones. Yadunoi is the one you want to get to in order to get the most amount of Endo, as the enemies are the highest level and will give you the most rewards possible. Now, the enemies you fight, especially when you get to Vodyanoi, sorry. I've been misspelling that the entire day, don't judge me. The enemies you fight in this mission are very unique. A lot of the time, you will never see these enemies again in any other mission type. There are tanked DPSs and very specific enemies. most of which will just die on their own. However, there are a couple that you might want to pay attention to. Some of these enemies are more important than others. Some of them will become immune to damage at certain points, but all of them can be found through a link that I'll leave in the description of the video here. So the ones that you really want to watch out for that can really screw up your run. Drakthor is not too much of a thing to deal with, but the duration effect that he has can be quite painful. Garesh isn't too much to deal with, however, he's very basic, he doesn't really need to worry about it. A lot of these are essentially the same as any other grenade target. They're going to be weak to radiation, they're going to be weak to viral, but some of the ones you definitely want to watch out for, the ones that will end up going immune to damage. There's no point going too deep into them, because if you're going in and doing this in an efficient manner, which I'll explain how to in a moment, you're not going to need to worry too much about this, because regardless, you're probably going to die once or twice anyway. Some of the ones you definitely want to watch out for, though, keep an eye out for Execution and Knock. This guy can be a massive pain in the arse when you go in there. There's one or two that will go immune as well, such as Reth. And also, you're going to want to watch out for Veymolta. Some of them will also summon smaller little mechanical units. But in regards to what you do against these guys, just kill them. If you're bringing in weapons that are relevant for doing a farming run, you're very likely going to be able to kill these guys with not much of an issue. If you die, you die. The execution of doing an endo run to Ratham is very straightforward. I have some footage over here somewhere. It is, as I mentioned, a very similar mode to the Index. You're going to be in a very small enclosed area that is reminiscent of a PvP environment. You're going to be fighting these dudes in this area. Now, the ideal setup for this is you're going to want to have 3 Necroses and a Nidus. The Nidus is going to be used as a control. You want to pinpoint an area of convergence between where all the enemies are going to be running to that has the biggest view of the entire area. There is a point in the middle of the map, which will be shown on screen in a moment. This is the point where you want to prioritize using your 2 as Nidus. Now, the way you build, you want to prioritize range and duration and a little bit of efficiency to try and keep this up to be able to affect as wide a range as possible. When this pull-in is done, you're going to want to prioritize using slash-based weapons. There are 2 weapons that I can give the best results with this. The Comb. The Comb is one of the only weapons in the game that has a multi-slash proc. This can then cause the bodies to be separated into multiple, into up to 4 components rather than the individual 2 that you would get from a normal slash proc. Twin Comac can also be used to this manner as well, but any slash weapon will work for cutting up the enemies into smaller pieces. This is why you bring 3 Necroses to be able to cover as many of these body parts as possible, making sure as many of them will get desecrated in a short space of time. Because once you hit 25 kills, you're done. Any endo you don't pick up at that point is then sacrificed, and essentially if you do this correctly, you should come out with anywhere between 600 to maybe 1,200 endo as an average. Sometimes you can get unlucky, and you may get less, but more often than not, you'll get in that region of like 600 to 1,000 endo per run. Making sure your Nidus is positioned and putting down his 2 at every opportunity is vital. You're not always going to get all of them, but with practice, this can be a very tried and true method of earning a lot of endo in a very short space of time. There are a couple of other methods you can use as well. Any tier 3 mission with a rotational reward, such as interception, defense, or excavation, can have the chance of giving 400 endo as a reward for completing that rotation. One of the best maps I can offer for this as an example would be Hyricon. Hyricon not only is a Dark Sector mission that will give you bonus rewards for completing it, as well as extra loot and XP for being in the mission itself, but as a excavation mission, it allows you to go at a very fast pace, and it'll allow you to go through multiple excavators very quickly, depending on how efficient your group is. You'll want to bring a frame that is good for crowd control, either a Frost to hold down a location, maybe a Slover just to make sure you're able to defend those excavators as efficient as possible. It's an excavation. Treat it as an excavation mission. But the more efficient you do it, the quicker you're able to fill up these excavators, the more likely you are to get more endo. Now, the chance of getting endo as a reward, it goes rotation A, B, C, C, and on rotation A and B, you have a 22% drop chance of getting an endo, and then on the rotation C, you have a 35% drop chance. That may have changed since I did this video, actually, but still, you get the idea. Rotation C has a slightly higher chance, but it is a case of just continuously grinding it out. There is no method within Warframe other than one, which will give you consistent endo as a reward all the time, every time. These are just ways of gaining endo in a more efficient manner. The other way of gaining endo is the arbitrations. Now, arbitrations are a very simple mission type. They're essentially a mission that was put in the game a while ago, in one of the most recent patches. It is a rotating alert that is only obtainable once you have unlocked the entire star map. That is every single mission. It is a very hardcore rotational style mission, so again, survival, excavation, survival. Excavation may not be in there, but either way. Whatever mission type you get, it is going to give you a condition where you have a frame and a weapon that are superfluously more powerful than normal. And then you can use that to your advantage, where you take them in and have more damage with them. But with this mission, you only have one death. If you die, you're gone. Any rewards you have up until that point, you'll be able to claim, and then you'll leave with it. Keeping in mind that my frame suggestions for this would be very defensive frames. Inaros, Nidus, Rhino, Chroma, Atlas can be very good here. It's all about making sure you stay alive, and the thing is with this as well is that rather than getting a rotation every 5 minutes or every 5 waves for a defense, you're going to get it every 10 minutes or 10 waves. But the rewards are a huge amount of endo. You can get sculptures from rotation A and B, and then you'll be getting progressively more endo. You'll get 1,000 endo on rotation A and B, and then on rotation C you can get 1,400 to 1,600. This is one of the only methods within Warframe that guarantees endo as a reward for almost every aspect of the fight. There is one enemy type you'll need to watch out for, which are the nullifiers, the shield nullifiers, which will tether nearby enemies within the mission and cause them to be completely immune to damage. You prioritize those to get rid of that buff, and then you just kill them as normal. You treat it as a normal mission type, just with those additional enemies, and whilst being very aware of the fact that if you die, you're dead. Other than things like alerts and small amounts of endo that can come in from just random things here or there, those are the main ways of optimally farming endo within Warframe. Hopefully this guide has been interesting to you. Hopefully you've learned something from it. If you have, leave a like, share it to your friends, leave a comment down below to let me know how much you hate my face and love Top Hat Harry, because most people do. And if you want to join us on Twitch for future streams and coming to join us with what we do, then feel free to drop by. There'll be a link in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see all of you Top Hatters in the next video. Ta-ra. I did this outro properly this time.